Ya no me queda nada en el mundo.
Celebrando 30 años de éxitos, el Zurdo de Oro, Michael Salgado. So when we left off last time that we were interviewing Michael, I brought up Billy Bob. That's one of my favorite stories. Tell us who Billy Bob was.
Billy Bob.
Billy Goat.
Billy Goat.
Oh, Billy Goat.
Okay, let's start over.
Billy Goat.
That was his middle name.
I'm thinking Billy Bob because you're going to be
Yeah,
performing
we're
there.
gonna-
That's right. That's coming up. It's in my
We'll
head.
work that.
All right, Billy Goat.
Yeah. Billy Goat. My dad got me a small goat, you know, and then after a while, I named him Billy, and so you know he would jump around. He was always with me everywhere.
He's your pet. He
on
was
the
your
farm.
pet.
Yeah,
Right.
He was literally our dog.
Yeah.
You didn't have a dog, you had a goat.
Llegamos a la escuela and he would jump like excited to see us.
Yeah.
And then they killed him.
Wait.
No.
Let him get there.
Oh,
Let him get
to
there.
the story.
Build
Let him
up
get
to
to the story.
I even remember that my parents had left. We lived in Rankin. My parents had left to, I think it was Stanton. And so that was like, 50, 60 miles away. My dad told me, well, finish work in the field over there and then come home and we'll be back later, right? So I remember hearing Billy going up and down and I was watching some scary movie and I was kind of like scared, but he was up walking. I was like, is that Billy out there?
He
or
would be
not?
on the porch.
And but anyways, it got to the time where my dad's like, well, we got to take him, do something, right?
To
or whatever.
Grandpa.
Yeah, to my grandpa, may he rest in peace. And you took him out there and little behold, he was out there, he was making cabrito and everything, and I was like, what's going on? This was my pet. Yeah, so I was like devastated for a while,
What was crazy is that he had me help him. Toma, mijo, lleva las trepitas y límpialas. So I would go clean him with the water hose.
Sí.
You would open the faucet, you put the tripa there.
And I'm over there traumatized on the side.
He's all traumatized.
Kill my pet.
Goodness.
I didn't realize that it was the goat, our goat.
You thought it was somebody else's
Es
dog.
el chivo que me trajo tu papá.
Oh my
I
goodness.
said, oh my God, it's Billy Goat.
And Michael traumatized the whole time.
Yeah, so that was,
He was literally crying.
My goodness.
yeah.
Because we had him since he was little.
Yes.
Y luego ya creció, pues, time
Yeah,
to
he was
eat
a
up.
pet for us, so it was,
Did you at least enjoy about a nice
I don't think he-
I didn't eat
No,
it.
you did not.
I don't think he ate.
No, I didn't eat it.
Nobody ate nothing. We
Let's
didn't-
talk
I
about
didn't-
the first time that you realized, man, I made it. We made it. Wow. Share that moment with us.
I think for me it was when we played the first time in San Antonio. It was probably Mission County Park, and
Oh, yeah.
we played, and all the people that were there, they knew every song right on the album of Cruz de Madera. I was like, wow, like we never seen that before, right? They were singing our songs, and I think that's kind of when we were like, wow, I think something's happening here, right? And it was crazy to see, and just we had never seen that. We played in bars and we come here and then they're singing. We were doing El Día que Te Fuiste and they were singing word per word of the song, and so it was back. I think it was what, maybe
96. Well, for me, it was when we were driving to San Antonio.
Right?
They were playing Cruz de Madera on the radio, and we heard it for the first time.
yeah.
We were like, yeah.
And we're like, hey, Cruz de Madera, turn it up. We're excited because we're coming. He back then had a little,
Grandin.
yes, was that what it's called? I don't even think they make them anymore. It was a little two-door y veníamos todos los cinco en ese carro.
¿Ese carro? No,
In that little
hombre.
car. Y luego little racket tenía en la trunk. Marramos ahí the bass and the
Todos los
suitcases
instrumentos.
were
Whatever,
tied
right?
down. And I remember coming into San Antonio and they were playing Cruz de Madera. That's, for me, that was probably the sign of we made it on the radio.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
That's big time. That is big
Yeah.
time. Y la cosa es que celebramos no nomás los acontecimientos, the accomplishments that you guys, but those of all of the people that helped get you there.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it was not just done by one person.
Right,
it was
right.
done by a lot of people.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Tell me
Well,
about
it was, back in the day, you're talking about, we did I did a lot of radio touring.
Yes.
I remember first coming to Corpus and did the radio here back in the day when it was still Magic,
Magic
Familia.
105.
Sí.
And, and so I remember David Garcia, he used to be with the record label, and he said, we're gonna go to the Valley next, and the Valley's another world, right? So if they accept you there, you know, they'll accept you anywhere. And I was like, well, I mean, how different could it be? But you know, it is different, and they did, you know, they did accept us out there. But I did a lot of radio, you know, so it took a lot of work, so a lot of support of the radio stations there. Like you guys, TV as well, you know, we did a lot of TV, we did a lot of, had to do a lot of national TV as well. And so all that, I think all the work, like I remember going to Denver, California. I was in California a couple of weeks out there.
My first interview with Michael was in California. And because it was the timing of it all, we had to take advantage of Michael when he was by himself, when he had some downtime. Yeah. So we met at an IHOP.
Mira.
I kid you not, my first interview with Michael Salgado was at an IHOP. Él estaba almorzando, so we decided to have breakfast, and here we are interviewing Michael 30 years ago at an IHOP in Central California.
Wow, I didn't remember that.
Yeah, we still have that recording.
That was the Fresno area or no?
Yeah, the Fresno area, Tulare,
Yeah.
Visalia, all that Central Valley.
Tulare.
It was amazing. Yeah, I guess you guys had performed at the Rainbow Ballroom.
Yeah, Rainbow Ballroom.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, so it was, you know, like you're saying, you know, we were out there, and then I remember doing TV in LA and doing some.
Goodness, yes.
So it took a lot of, you know, a lot of planning and a lot of music and you know, trying to find the right songs and so, you know, I think I say that to young
Artists.
people that want to, you know, get into music. I tell them, you know, it's about the right song and the right, you know, a lot of discipline behind it. And so I think that kind of all helps, and, you know, the work that the labels did, and, you know, everything came together and you know, it brought us to where we're at today. Of course, never forgetting our fans that, you know, made it possible. I mean, they're the ones that listened to the music and loved it, and we thank you guys. We love you guys for all your continuous support. And first of all, thank God, right?
Amen.
You know, he's the reason why he's still here. And so, definitely.
You've got 2 albums that you're working on, one in Espanol and another in country.
Right, we're almost finishing an album. It's kind of like a concept album. It's a lot of older songs that were recorded in the past, like Una Noche Serena y Oscura. I think it's El Libro Abierto, maybe is in there. I even recorded a song that I used to sing when I was 8 years old. And I used to sing it to my grandparents, may they rest in peace. But every time I would go, they would ask me for that song, you know, and it was
Dejé mi casa.
Dejé mi casa. It was an old song from Lorenzo Monteclaro. So here 30 years later, finally decided to record it. That's on the album. So there's going to be a lot of songs that people recognize, pero ahora el estilo de nosotros. So that's almost finished, and because I'm about to close a distribution deal with ADA, which is Warner Music, and so we're kind of, I think we finalized that this week coming, and so the other thing I want to do this year is going to be doing a country album.
Yes, tell us about that.
Going to be preparing a new country album and all new songs, and so I've done an EP before where it came with some of the hits and some new songs, right? But this one's going to be a complete new country album, so going to be working on that right after I get this distribution deal done, and of course we've got these shows coming up this year. We're going to team up, me and Louis the singer, and we're doing we're doing Billy Bob's.
That's what I was thinking about earlier. That's
we're doing Billy Bob's June the 6th together out there. Chris Pettis is going to be out there as well for that show.
It's up in Fort Worth, Dallas area.
Fort Worth. And then Louis is going to come and do our show in Vegas. We're going to be at the Fremont Country Club July the 12th. So he's going to come out there and do the show with me out there. So we want to invite everybody to come out there. If you haven't gotten your tickets, make sure to make your plans. It's going to be some party.
It's going to be a big one.
Party.
Gonna be
so 30 years of your amazing career, Michael, 2 Latin Grammys, lots of awards. But what has been your biggest accomplishment within those 30 years?
Wow, that's a good question.
I thank you. I'm glad I'm asking good questions because I'm going to toast to that answer. We're all going to toast. Grab your all drinks.
There you go.
And that's how we're going to finish.
Well, I don't know that it's, you know, if it's the right answer, but I think for me the greatest accomplishment is to have been able to make my dream come true, you know. And in all these years, people, you know, to be able to, like I said in one of the interviews, to be able to wake up every day and live your dream. I mean, how better does it get, you know? And that's, for me, is being able to accomplish that dream I had when I was 13 years old is probably the biggest thing.
Congratulations, here's to 30 more,
and
baby.
30 more years.
Thank
30
you,
more,
Michael.
For sure. There you
Un
go.
saludo ahí para...
Gracias. We
También
will
para
be
salud.
right back with break.
okay.
¿Verdad que sí? Pero para todos ustedes, gracias por acompañarnos. We've got more Michael Salgado with the
It's
big
just
song
cider,
coming
everybody,
up
it's just
in just a
cider.
couple of minutes.
Okay.